Yo,
We
what
go.
is good, Mets Nation? Welcome back to another
What's up?
episode of New York Mets Talk. Today, we're not the happiest today, right?
No.
So, Tyler and I will be giving you guys our thoughts of the unfortunate sequence of events that happened in the last 3 days against the Chicago Cubs. We got swept, as we know, but we're also going to preview the series that starts tonight with Jacob deGrom on the mound against the Washington Nationals. So, Tyler, what's your thoughts? We're going to get into everything in detail, but I won't forget, we were on your channel for the New York Mets Talk right before the series, and I said to you, I was like, hey, listen, we're 7-4. Say we get swept, it's all right. We'll still be 500. And I'm like, that's not going to happen, but we'll still be 500. So, unfortunately, it happened, but it is what it is. It's a long baseball season. It's only April. And before I let you talk, I just want to say shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. AB, Dominic, King Jong, Sean, what is good, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. And Tyler, so how are you doing today? And I know that you were live during all those games, so you're probably feeling a little really upset right now.
I feel hungover with my emotions. That was a tough series. That really was, honestly. And again, shout out to everyone in the chat, guys. Make sure to subscribe to Richie if you haven't already for a lot of great Mets content coming this season. And yeah, we talked about it. I was concerned. It's like, okay, the Mets bats, they've been hitting, but they have not been hitting great situationally. They've been a bottom feeder in the league with runners in scoring position, and that continues. And that was evident in more ways than one this series. And between the batting not coming up clutch, between the umps being atrocious, outside of really yesterday's game was by far the best umpiring that I've seen for most games for the Mets all season long until it actually got into extras, which was so bizarre. I think he was like, all right, let's just finish this game. So he was expanding the strike zone a bit. That was nuts. I don't know what the hell was happening there, but anything and everything that could have went wrong in this series for the New York Mets in a nutshell. Between the poor defense, J.D. Davis creating a domino effect in game 2 with multiple errors in the inning, 7 runs total scored that inning. It was a lot. That is definitely a tough pill to swallow, mainly because it always sucks when you're swept or lose a series, but you're losing a series to a team that was so beatable. The Cubs did not flat out play amazing. Pete Alonso spoke glowingly of them, but he's just doing that out of the kindness of his heart. The reality is the Mets played far worse than we could have probably imagined throughout that series that led to their falter to a team where every single starting rotation, pitcher in the rotation that we faced, even Arrieta, Davies, and Williams, all these guys were beatable. The bullpen, they have some solid arms, but nothing that is out of the realm possibility with this lineup on paper. So that in a nutshell is my quick stance on the whole thing. I'm still trying to get over it. I was raging yesterday. It was a lot of fun in the stream. And I feel like we always come together as Mets and baseball fans through like misery. And that's literally how it's felt the past 48 hours. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now as we get set to kind of deep dive what exactly went wrong for the Mets in particulars through this series.
Yeah, man, we're not going to talk about game 2. That didn't happen. Game 1 and game 3 if we want. Last night was unfortunate. And let's talk about J.D. Davis, because it just makes me more upset that we do not have a DH, because he is the perfect DH, because as we know, he's terrible in the field, but he's lights out at the plate. He's one of the most red-hot hitters so far. He got a pinch hit RBI to tie the game last night, and he's just not a natural third baseman, and he cost us the game, and it's just infuriating. And I feel like if we had the DH, we'll have to be really creative with it, because do we put Dom Smith in left field still and then put Guillorme at third and DH JD? Or do we do a defensive outfield or defensive infield? But hey, there's no DH, so no need to be hypothetical, right? So what do you think the Mets need to do at third base so far in the rest of the season? I mean, we're so early, right? We saw Guillorme flash the leather last night with that spectacular play.
Beautiful stop.
Should the Mets really prioritize defense at third base or hitting? Because that's what you're deciding between, either putting JD or Guillorme.
See, it's such a tough question. And if you guys don't know, I did do a video yesterday on my channel regarding JD in particular, like readdressing him, because right before the season started, I did a video on how I believe could be the best route for the Mets in addressing third base, something that we very well could see. And that is a platoon of both JD and Guillorme, whether it's Guillorme coming in casually almost on every given night later in the game once the Mets hopefully have a lead or it's a close game, or two, where you're platooning where say you have JD start one day, then you have Guillorme the second. They just kind of seesaw back and forth throughout the year as long as JD is on this team, right? And that they have third base figured out that way. Okay, well, now we saw the biggest gripe about JD on third base is it sucks more than anything because this guy is on fire to start the season batting. He has a pinch hit double that we talked about that brought in a run. Like, it's so annoying. He's such a Jekyll and Hyde type player. He is literally Daniel Murphy 2.0 for the Mets. This guy, a phenomenal bat, but he just does not have the glove. But you got to keep him in the lineup because of how much he brings with his bat. Now, the big question is his bat going to be able to be enough to get over his defensive woes? Look at Dom Smith in left field. Dom is not going anywhere. He's going to stay in left field all season long while he's a natural first baseman. He's not going to be a gold glover in left field. He will probably have some errors throughout the year. Hopefully he has a decent year, but he's going to have struggles there, but his bat normally makes up for it. Dom is just one of those guys that we can expect to really be pushing upwards of a 280 average throughout the season. Like, he's not consistent. Now with JD, you have a great bat as well. He had a down year in 2020, pardon me, but I won't put too much stock into it. Shortened season and not having Chili Davis around really impacted guys like him. Same thing with Pete Alonso and others. So Chili's back. You're seeing him thrive once again. Same thing with Pete now. JD made up for his bat. You saw him get a home run, and I call that home run from our last Mets talk who get the next home run. So that was really cool. But he gets the home run that makes up for one of his errors. And then he has another error that game that was so frustrating on the Chris Bryant deal where he didn't even touch the bag. It's like that was one, it was a bad throw by JD to cause the error. But two, that was one of the most obnoxiously blown calls I've ever seen in a Mets game as a Mets fan. And we're not even going to get there. That's going to be way too long of a tangent. But then you get on to game two where everything was a disaster here. And JD did not do enough at the plate to justify his actions. He could have turned a double play more than likely, and he gobbled it. You saw him wait there on third base and then drop it. That inning would have been done if that double play was turned. Now, granted, maybe it would have been just the force out because Javi Baez is a fast mofo bolting to first. Still, though, if you turn that double play, that's it. And those next 6 runs don't happen. And what's up, MLB Joey and everyone? I appreciate you guys. But that's the thing. JD needs to make sure that he can make up for his defensive woes with his bat, and he did not do that enough in this series. Now, a lot of other factors went into it, but in my personal opinion, right now, the Mets need to take a very hard look at how they want to evaluate this team. Because as awesome as JD is with the bat and everything, the Mets on paper have a lineup that can handle JD Davis not being in the lineup. Let's just take, for instance, when we were just in Queens last week for the Philly series. JD wasn't in any of those games because he was on the 10-day IL. Look what the Mets did. They swept the series, right? And that's with the offense still down. When this offense is clicking, I think JD is going to be less and less of a priority because at that point, you need to be prioritizing defense. Right now, you can justify JD being in more because the offense has been atrocious. Runners in scoring position, he's actually been clutch. But once everything's kind of in a flow and a rhythm, I think there's a very fair argument to be had in saying that Guillorme and or VR at times is more deserving at being at third for at least maybe the second half of the game or something, because you just don't know what you're going to get with JD. He's lacking confidence, and that was evident in that series. I hope he turns it around. Again, that series was atrocious in more ways than one. The weather, too, is freezing every night. But that's my stance currently on the JD debacle as of now.
Yeah, man, it's a frustrating one. And we knew all throughout the offseason we were in the third base market. All this speculation, are we trading for Chris Bryant? Are we trading for Suarez? All yada, yada, because of the reason that we're seeing right now. JD Davis is a natural good really hitter, but he can't play third base at an effective level defensively. And it's really unfortunate because we know what Francisco Lindor brings to the table at short, and he's elite. But if JD Davis cannot help him out, then it's going to be a problem. And defense has always been a problem for the Mets in the past decade, to be honest. We never really prioritized that. We've always went for the offensive-minded players in the draft and yada, yada, yada. But hey, it is what it is. We'll see what type of adjustments comes tonight. Say that they decide that JD Davis is better suited coming off the bench and he's a pinch hitter late in games and they want Guillorme at third. I'm okay with that because we saw last night he came in as a pinch hitter and got us the tie ball game. So it's such a weird topic, but I expect him to be in the third base market at the trade deadline if this continues, especially defensively. There was some positive to take from this series and not a lot because we were 0-3. We got swept. But let's talk about Pete Alonso real quick. because he had 2 home runs. One of them was unbelievable. Literally took that ball out of the stadium later for Wrigley Field. That was one of the most impressive Pete Alonso home runs I've ever seen from him, and that says a lot because he's hit a lot of balls like that. So what are your thoughts on Pete Alonso, and do you think that this is the beginning of him to get red hot throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, I do. Pete's a guy that I think is going to naturally have his ups and downs throughout the year, like most guys, but especially he's a slugger. He's going to swing and miss. You're going to see a high K rate with him, but that's normal because you know what you're getting. Pete right now is finally starting to get a little bit more locked in. He's really never been, ice cold to start the year. He's just been maybe a little bit underwhelming when things started out, along with the rest of the lineup. But yeah, that bomb by Pete was fantastic. He thinks he's snubbed. I think they had him at 429. No way. That was like pushing 500 feet. I'm being slightly dramatic there. But that was an awesome home run. He had another bomb yesterday too, pulled it to that left side again. So, Pete's looked fantastic. And I'm really, really excited to see what he's going to bring in the series starting tonight against the Nationals. Because again, Pete, if you remember, is a guy that has really thrived, especially against relievers. He has more home runs, I believe, than anyone else in the MLB or close to since he came in the league against relief pitching. He's really, really good against relievers in particular. And the Mets find themselves in another golden opportunity that they hopefully won't waste. So far, they have throughout this whole year. But I've been saying this to you. The Mets have faced subpar pitching left and right to start the season. We're going to be game 15 tonight, and they have yet to really fully take advantage. We've seen it few and far in between to start the year. But you have tonight, it's going to be for the Nationals, it's going to be, why am I blanking on top of my head? It's DeGrom versus Fetty. Fetty is a guy that is one of those guys that is normally on the outside looking in for the rotation when fully healthy, but dealing with injuries and dealing with a little bit of a depleted lineup for the Nationals, he's in there tonight for the Nats. And this is a guy Pete can jump on, but also if they work early, you're going to see a lot of the bullpen. And I love that matchup. I think if we see Brad Hand this series, which I know we will, I love that matchup for Pete. Same thing with Ross tomorrow starting, and then so forth. So I really like the matchups here for Pete, and it's just a matter of not just him, but the remainder of this lineup to start taking advantage. They're literally giving things on a silver platter to start the year, and they're doing nothing with it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like you said, the pitching matchups has been in our favor. We've not taken advantage by any means. The pitchers for the last 3 games against the Cubs, we had Walker, Peterson, and then Lucchesi on the mound. Walker got into a big mess with his, 6 walks is inexcusable, even though the ump was not in our favor. And Rojas went out there and gave him a jaw, which was good to see. And then Peterson looked lights out through 3 innings. And I'm like, wow, Peterson really looks like a stud. And then the 4th inning nightmare happened. And low-key, the same thing happened last night with Lucchesi. He got through 2, I believe. And I'm like, wow, Lucchesi looks good. And then 3rd inning was a nightmare. So what was your thoughts of the starting pitchers in this series alone? And do you expect them to have bounce-back starts next week?
My initial stance on the starting pitchers this series wasn't longevity. And I really think that the other factors went into impart me. I might have to sneeze. Give me 1 second. Allergy season. All right, I think I'm good.
Oh, allergy season's real.
Yeah, I know. So I need what I was going to say though is that I really think when you look at every single game 1, game 2, and game 3 in this series, they were all Walker was struggling his command right from the beginning of that game, and I had some people in my live stream saying, why are you talking Walker like that? He's off to a no-hitter first couple innings or whatever. I'm like, I'm really happy. I'm so glad Walker's doing well, but it doesn't change the fact that he's giving up a couple walks. Like, normally he doesn't do that. We haven't seen that yet. To start the game, that's what happened. And then when you get on to Pearson was rolling too, as we said, coming off a 10K 6-inning game that we saw live against the Phillies last week. That was awesome. But then Lucchesi here too, they didn't reap the benefits whatsoever of the Mets not executing runners in scoring position and then some defensive errors. Every single game, the defense looked atrocious in one way or another in this series, especially game 2, as we know. And I really, really think between that and the poor umpires, especially in the first 2 games of the series, really not any in game 3, because Lucchesi, maybe you could give him 1 call or 2, but Lucchesi was a little bit more rattled. That isn't as justifiable as Walker and Pearson, but in a nutshell, they did not handle the situation well. Once the errors happened and they weren't able to get out of the inning, you could tell they were struggling to find the command on either their fastball or their off-speed stuff. So what's your stance on it, though? Because that's really how I felt from all those games I was watching. And it was just frustrating. It sucks when you see a guy, say, rolling early in a game, and then he just gets completely dismantled when it could have all been avoided by a simple error or, just getting that one out. And, yes, you have to put it on the pitcher to an extent, of course. They're the ones throwing the ball. But you can't tell me that between the JD errors and other errors with McNeil and Lindor did not factor into getting with them mentally.
Yeah, man. I mean, you hit on the head. It's unfortunate they did not go deep into the games at all. I feel like Walker was dealing, but the walks really did not help him out. And then Peterson, he was dealing through 3. And then right when he went through the batting order for the second time, they just absolutely lit him up. And Lucchesi, same thing. And the defense is not helping them at all. But there is one positive I definitely want to bring up that he just brought up. Thoughts on Reid-Foley. He actually pitched a perfect 3 innings in his Mets debut yesterday. That's the first time since like 2002. This guy looks like a beast. He came in and I'm like, all right, we got a new blood out of the pen. Mets debut right now. Let's see what we got. And I loved his motion was so unique. He looked like a guy that obviously you can't read into 1 3-inning outing, but he looked good. 3 innings, perfect. 9 up, 9 down. And we need any of the bullpen help that we can get. So what's your thoughts on Reid-Foley's debut?
I mean, I think that single-handedly won us the Steven Matz trade. And I'm being sarcastic, of course, but like it's pretty funny because when that trade happened, I was a little surprised on the return the Mets got because they just dumped Matz, as we knew, because they just signed him to a $5 million 1-year extension, and they wanted to get rid of him because they really felt he didn't have a future with the team, and rightfully so. And now he's thriving with the Jays. I'm so happy for Steven Matz. He needed that. I don't think he would have done that if he stayed with the Mets, honestly. But they bring in a couple pieces, 2 interesting bullpen pieces, not just in Sean Reid-Foley, but also in Yennsy Diaz, 2 guys who are expected to have some type of impact. And Reid-Foley struggled quite a bit last year with the Jays. And a guy, Kyle, who's a great member on my channel, he's a big Blue Jays fan, stated to me how he was very interested to see how Reid-Foley went back to his stance. If you guys don't know, if you weren't watching the game, Reid-Foley's stance is really interesting. So he holds his hands like bent like this, like he's bent like this on his thighs like that. And that apparently is a stance that when he was with the Jays, they made him get rid of for whatever reason. And that led to a lack of success for him the past year or so. Now he brings it back with the Mets and bam, 3 perfect innings. The sky's the limit, right? But all jokes aside, I really liked what I saw from him. He was really aggressive. A guy that just got called up from the alternate site or whatever it was, literally going in, fastball in on these guys. It's not like he has the heater. He's topping out between 93 and 95 or so, and he's getting it done. Has had command on his off-speed stuff. I really, really liked what I saw from Sean Reid-Foley, and that's a great sign because this Mets bullpen is not deep right now. We know that, so good, push it. And now we have Drew Smith. That looks like he'll be back with the club, hopefully really soon. I think the page is definitely starting to turn with the bullpen and being too reliant on the Miguel Castros, the Trevor Mays, and the Aaron Loops of the world. It's about time we give these guys some breathers and actually have a guy that could be a swingman, and maybe that's going to be Sean Reid-Foley now. He showed that big time. We'll see how he does going forward, but so far, so good. You could not have asked for anything better.
Yeah, definitely agree. Didn't expect that from him, to be honest. When I heard, like, oh, this is the guy we got from the Mets trade, Mets debut, my mind was in the gutter because it is not looking good for the Mets, but 3 perfect innings. Timothy says, bro, the lack of hitting and running scoring position is killing me. It's still early, though. LFGM.
What's
Timothy,
up, Tim?
How are you, buddy? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream. And I think every single Mets fan can relate to you on this one. It is frustrating. I cannot believe we had bases loaded, 1 out in the 10th inning, and Dom Smith had to ground into a double play. I said it to my friend. I was watching with my buddy Paul, and I'm like, yo, if Dom Smith grounds into a double play right here, I'm going to absolutely freak out. It's exactly what happened. It's just so infuriating. And of course, the Conforto missile of a shot that he hits, the most flukish little centimeter would have been a home run.
Dom would have had a home run that inning too. Remember, Dom, it was very similar. It just missed. And it's funny because I called Dom to get the next home run. He was that close. But then Pete gets the piss missile, and then you had Conforto get the double. But man, it's those little things. It's those fractions of an inch that make a difference in a game.
That's what makes the sport so unique and so different than any other sport. There's a lot of luck involved because you can hit the ball extremely hard and it can go right to a defender. But if you hit the ball extremely hard, it can fall in the gap. You never know.
And it also shows how effective the dead end ball has been, though, to start the year. This is something that I know you and I have talked about, and some people are really like pushing it aside like it's not a factor, but by all means, it is a factor. You can clearly tell the ball is not flying out nearly at the same rate it was the past 2 seasons.
Unless it's Pete Alonso.
I know. Pete's a different story. Pete has yet to hit a ball with less than 100 mile per hour exit velocity, which is the best in baseball right now. So, yeah, he's kind of nuts. But I want to throw this stat out because let's focus on this because, look, it pisses us off. It makes us upset, but we need to talk about it because it's a real problem for this team. And while it's still early, this is something that they need to be prioritizing more than anything. I, to an extent, really don't care how the bullpen fares at this point in time, as long as I know the Mets actually start hitting more runners in scoring position. So just take a look at these numbers according to SNY, because God forbid they talk positive about the Mets more often than not. Here we are, runs per game. 3.2. They're 30th in the league currently. Ugh. Slugging, they're 327. That's 27th in the league. At bats for home runs, 44. That's 29th in the league. Ugh. Extra base hits. Granted, the Mets have been postponed 7 games. So when we're talking about the hits exactly, don't put too much stock into it. But 30 extra base hits, that's 30th in the league. And extra base hits percentage, 5.9%, which is 27th in the league. So again, you do have to weigh in the factor that the Mets have played far less games than many other teams in the league right now. So try to separate them. But we all know from every single damn game that we have watched this season, the Mets have not been producing in clutch moments, not nearly enough. And it sucks because you don't want to put much stock into this series getting swept by the Cubs. You're like, all right, it's still early. Do I think the Mets are going to be fine? Absolutely. But it's these early opportunities that you should be jumping on that could severely dictate what things come down to, and not just having a deep playoff push, but winning the division. And I think the division is crucial for the Mets to really try to have some major success this year. Not that they can't in the wild card, but you get plenty of advantages if you win the division. And this is something the Mets have their eyes set on. So to not jump on this damn Cubs series and to not sweep, granted, it was a doubleheader, but they really should have tried sweeping that Rockies series too. They fell short. But man, even going back to the series opener, and I know it was because of the protocols and everything, so they had to wait until Philly, and I think that threw them off. But every external factor is kicking in for the Mets right now. So you have to realize all that, and you can't put too much stock into everything. But you also have to realize that these guys are professionals at the end of the day. So when they are not producing to this level, not even a quarter of what we could see them do against pitching that is not solid, is frustrating, because you know damn well that once teams start to get in a groove, you're going to see the Mets finally starting to click, but they're also going to be facing a lot of better pitching. You know, that is the biggest thing for me throughout these past 2 series. They did not execute on golden opportunities, and you know, we'll see how much it presents itself throughout the remainder of the season. But runners in scoring position, man, they need it. They literally need to like have that taped like on a mirror in the bathroom every single time they go in. Like they need to constantly be reaffirmed. Like this is not okay. Like write it on your damn hand or something when you're about to go up at bat. Put it on your glove. Like come on. Like you need to get ready for these clutch moments. Just choke up on the damn bat. Get a single. Stop trying to pull for a home run. Like it's frustrating, man. It really is.
It's extremely frustrating. And the good thing about all this is it's April and there's such a long season ahead of us.
Yes.
And we're 7-7, right? It's not like we're 4 games under 500. And this division's interesting. There's not one team that's running away with the division yet. Nope. The team that's in first place is the Phillies, who are 9-9. So we have the same exact percentage, 500. But it's also very even keeled. If you look at the bottom of the division, I don't know who it is, but they're 2 games under, if that. So this division we thought was going to be excellent. Right now, everyone is kind of mediocre. And it's just April, right? You can't read into it. You don't know what's going to happen. Anybody can go on a crazy win streak. The Braves can get red hot and just take over and just get in that first spot. You never know what can happen. But I like what is happening so far in the division. There's not one team that's really in the driver's seat. Like I said, first place is 500. So this is a very important series coming up against the Nationals. And that's going to segue into our preview of the Nationals-Mets series that starts tonight.
Yes.
With Jacob deGrom on the mound Oh my gosh, if we don't get Jacob Dub tonight. So Jacob DeGrom will be on the mound tonight. And the last time we saw him, there he is. There he is. Gorgeous.
Keep
Last
talking.
time we saw Jacob DeGrom, he struck out 9 straight batters, one shy of Tom Seaver's record, and he struck out 14 in total in 6 innings of work. That's remarkable. And luckily, he got the W in that game in the doubleheader. So it's going to be interesting. This is a must-win tonight because if we lose, we're going under 500, and that's when Mets fans are going to be ruthless and all over the place, and we're going to be calling for the heads of I don't know what's going to happen. But what's your stance on tonight's game? What's your confidence level that we come out a dub and provide some run support for Jacob DeGrom?
I want to be confident. I'm going to be confident. It's early in the season. I'm going to stay confident. Let's go, baby. I'm probably not even streaming tonight, so that's a guaranteed W right there. So I think DeGrom is hopefully going to have a big game. Here's another golden opportunity for the Mets, right? You don't just get the Nationals with a depleted rotation that you're facing for this series, but you get the Nationals without arguably the best hitter in baseball. Juan Soto's out. Remember that. That is going to be huge for the Mets. Now, again, can you capitalize? Can you get some runs in for Jacob DeGrom? Who knows? Because this narrative has been going on way too long. I think the potential's there. I think them back home is going to be great. It's one of those things where I want to guarantee Mets win. Just how I felt so confident that Cubs series would have been golden. As long as the umps look competent tonight, and as long as it's not too freezing cold, I love the Mets' chances to get on this. They're pissed off, and that's something that they need early. And it's also a great time for the Mets to be struggling. I will just say that too. If there's any time that I want this Mets team to be completely underperforming, it is right here, right now. Do not have this happen to me when we're in early to mid-August when things are really getting tight. Okay, so let this happen now. That's fine by me. Jacob DeGrom, call it. He's going to get a W tonight. He's going to get over 10 Ks, and he's going to give up 1 run in 7 innings. Just random prediction right there. No clue if that's going to come to fruition or not. Just, one of those things when you have gut feelings, it's like just random numbers come in your head right away. That's how I'm feeling for Jacob DeGrom. But I do think he gets some win tonight for the Mets, God willing.
Yeah, but what if he pitches 7, gives up 1 run, and we lose 1-0? Because the game
It'd be like, okay, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing around. But hey, man, the good news is the last time Jake was on the mound, he was losing when he left, and he was on his way to get another L. But the Mets rallied behind him and got 4 straight hits and gave the Mets the lead, which resulted in a Jacob DeGrom W. So maybe they're trending in the right direction. I feel like we have to put a lot of credit to that because that easily could have been a Jacob DeGrom L, and we would have lost that series against the Rockies, and that would have been even worse. We've been under 500 right now. So definitely give credit to the Mets, even though that was a little less than a week ago. But hopefully they understand that they need to score runs for Jake early, give him a cushion. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, the first time through the order, like, when's the last time we scored a run in the first inning, or the second inning? I know Lindor hit a home run in the first inning the other day, which was awesome. But
yes, shout out to Mr. Lindor with his first home run as a New York Met, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Great.
I'm so pissed I missed that because I put the game on downstairs, like on my TV, and then I was in the kitchen, like finishing up the dishes or whatever. And I didn't know the game like started, and I go down and I see they're up 1-0. I'm like, what the hell happened? I'm like, no way. What did I miss? What did I miss? And I rewind it and I see it. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm so pissed that I missed that live. But obviously very excited that that happened. But we got to take advantage. We said going into the Cubs series, we need to win the series, if not sweep. So we might have to tune down our expectations here. But the pitching rotation is in our favor. We got DeGrom and Stroman on the mound in game 1 and 2. And then game 3 is Peterson again. So
yes.
So
no. I think it's
Walker. Excuse me. Yeah. Walker on the mound Sunday. So we got to win 2 of these minimum and go over 2 games over 500. And then this is going to be a long season, guys. And I love that you said that, Tyler. If you want this team to be underperforming, now is the time. It's only April. There's so much time left in the season. We've played 7 less games than any other team in MLB because of the whole COVID issues and the rain delays and all this snow delays.
Like, what the hell?
So the Mets are not in rhythm. The one thing that's concerning is Brendan Nimmo sleeping the wrong way, and now he has a hip problem. And now
the wrong way. Yeah,
I don't know what that means, but I sleep the wrong way and have back pain probably all the time, and so do you.
Yeah,
You can relate to that, Tyler, actually.
yeah. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Seriously, I woke up today feeling like crap too. I think just because of how overwhelming last night was. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
Nimmo, I mean, again, I was saying this to you yesterday off air, how my only concern with Nimmo is, once we saw him, strike out yesterday, whoop-de-doo, he was coming cold off the bench and has been sitting on the bench past 2 games.
and didn't even get to warm up either. He didn't he wasn't on deck. Like,
No,
he was crazy. I was like, what is happening? Why is he just running onto the batting circle without even having any type of preparation?
He was ice cold, and the Mets were like, you know what? We're done with Joey Fuego. Joey thought he was going to be hitting. He thought he was going to get another inning. And they're like, you know what? We got a couple guys on. Let's try to jump because we know how desperately we need to at least try to get this series finale. So they bring in Nimmo. Poor choice there by Rojas, honestly. And it's one of those things where it's like, how's that poor choice go with Nimmo? But if you just weigh your options there, I would have went with Albert Almora Jr. Honestly, I would have. Almora Jr.
Or even McNeil.
Even McNeil, you're right, but I would have even considered. I think at that time McNeil still wasn't in the game, so you go with McNeil or Almora Jr. He knows Wrigley on the back of his hand. He had his first hit this season, the game or two prior. So it's one of those things. It's not a big deal at the end of the day. But Nimmo, my only concern with him once he's back, hoping he's back tonight leading off because we need Nimmo back, is he going to try to stay hot, continuing that rhythm, or is he really going to come down to earth and then some by just having this slight unfortunate situation with him and his hip? That is something that may not seem like it's too much of concern about, but we all know how players work, man. All it takes is that one day to get thrown off, and then bam, it could be a week of 200 average or something like that. That's my only concern with that.
Yeah, it's a really big concern. And as we know, baseball is a sport where you need to be in rhythm and you're seeing the ball. You got to be facing live pitching. And now he's out and he's not in a rhythm. And it's really unfortunate because that was our best hitter throughout the entire season so far. He's batting 395 or something crazy like that, leading the Mets in every category, second in the league in on-base percentage, second in the league in batting average. And it's crazy. The one player that had to sleep wrong and have an inflamed hip had to be Brendan Nimmo. Great.
Because he's doing too much for this team. It was bound for something to go wrong.
Nothing's going right in our favor. But to stay on the Mets National Series preview, who are you looking at the plate to really support us the most? I think Pete Alonso was the guy for the Cubs series that broke out for me with 2 home runs. So who are you looking at this series to break out offensively and really provide run support with running in scoring position?
To break out offensively in this series, man, I picked Dom. I always feel comfortable with Dom. There's just something about Dom, but I want to pick McNeil because this has to end at some point. And assuming that he's back in the lab today, I want to see the McNeil of old. He wants to see the McNeil of old. It's not, look, even if he has a horrendous first month of baseball, he's still probably going to finish the season right around 300 or under on average. So I like McNeil. I like McNeil for this series. I don't love McNeil's matchup for the series finale against Corbin, just because that lefty-lefty action isn't always a great thing. But Corbin's also had a very poor start to the season. That guy's repping right around, I think he's repping right around a 10 ERA too, if my memory's not mistaken. It's high.
And if we don't hit him.
My point. It was literally like Zach Davies. Zach Davies had a 10 ERA going into that game against the Mets early, and bam, that's what happened. What's up, Nicholas? Again, though, before we get into anything else, and I want to hear your stance on who you think you're looking for in particular this series. Guys, if you haven't already, what the hell are you doing? Make sure to subscribe to my man, Richie at Mets Media. Help him get to, of course, 1,000 subscribers. Really meaning a lot. He's doing a lot of great things here on the channel, and he's going to be doing a lot throughout the season and beyond. And guys, hit that like button too. Try to get as many likes on this as possible if you guys are enjoying the stream. But Richie, who is your pick for this series? What guy are you looking out for in particular, whether it's for to break out of a slump or it's just maybe to stay consistent? What are you looking for?
Yeah, appreciate that. And again, guys, if you guys are new to the stream, don't forget to like. And if you guys are not subscribed to Wardy, that is down below in the description. So tonight, I'm going to pick my guy, Conforto. I think he's going to bounce back after that crazy hit that he had last night that unfortunately did not leave the ballpark. It was a great extra base hit double, but I think that he had a breakout series against the Rockies and he slowed down against the Cubs. So now I'm going to pick him. I feel like he normally does well against the Nationals. If my memory is correct, he has a career high. Well, not a career high. It's not a good stat. He has not hit a home run in his past like 85 or so at bats. And that's the longest span of his career. So he's destined to break out. He's destined a home run. He almost just went yard last night, and I got my guy Jack in the chat. Let's go Mets, baby. Yankees are ass, Mets are elite. That's my guy Jack.
What's up, Jack?
That's my buddy from home.
Let's go Mets.
He's a diehard baseball fan, right, Jack? Nah, I'm just kidding. And then we got another Jack. What's up, boys? Let's get that W for Jake tonight. 100%. We need to get this W for the GOAT.
Shout out to the other Jack. He's a member on the channel as well. I know a bunch of members. I see a lot of regulars here in the stream. That's awesome. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you all tuning in to another episode of Mets Talk. We'll be going live on my channel and Wardy's channel like every single week. So make sure you subscribe to both.
I think we'll actually, as long as you're ready, we'll probably be back on my channel on Monday then.
Yeah, it's going to be fire.
Word.
All right. So, yeah, I picked Michael Conforto. I think he's destined to break out. Just like you said with McNeil, I definitely feel like this is not going to last. And it's just a matter of time till Conforto breaks out of it. He hit a hard hit ball last night. Unfortunately, did not leave the yard. But hey, that's the game of baseball for you, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So, I mean, the easy answer is DeGrom, but I was going to say, who do you think is going to have the best pitching outing in this series? But that's too easy of a question.
Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, Edwin Diaz. That's a good answer. So, what about Francisco Lindor? Leroy asked, will Lindor go fire?
I mean, we want him to. I feel like it's been the Lindor show. That's what we've been trying to get. It's funny how terrible a game the second game of the series against the Cubs was. One of the small bright spots was Francisco Lindor, not just with his first home run, but he had a multi-hit game. And look, Lindor, if you look at his numbers, he has not performed nearly to an elite level since the 2019 season. 2020, the entire year was a sham. Granted, short season, was not motivated, was struggling personally also with the whole contract situation. A lot of things went into it. Now he's with the team only a couple weeks in. You shouldn't put too much stock into it, but you have to wonder, when is he really going to start to hit his stride? Because it's been a little bit now. As much as those other factors have definitely been in there, and Francisco Lindor is a guy who I think is going to be amazing. He's the unsung captain on this team, in my opinion. Like it honestly isn't even close. There's no one that's a vocal leader that's presented himself and implemented himself so quickly within this organization the way Lindor has. I really hope this is a series for him to break out. Man, I think we just want this whole lineup to show their potential, because every single one through 9, including Jacob deGrom tonight. I'm also excited to see deGrom hit as much as I want a DH. He's the one bright spot with no DH. So I'm looking forward to seeing him getting some hacks in there. On Fetty, too, sign me the hell up. So I think Lindor is destined to break out. I really hope it starts tonight on a more consistent basis. But again, I feel like this team is just really feeding off of each other at the same time. And once they really start to take advantage of runners in scoring position and getting clutch hits and doing the small ball, that's the big thing between not just Lindor, but everyone. The Mets have been losing games because they're not playing small ball here. You can't just swing for the fences constantly. It's either you swing for the fences or you're grounding out. There has been nearly enough in between there. They struggle with the extra base hits. We know that. And they need to get better situational hitting. And Lindor is right in the heart of that. So I think if the Mets can really jump on Fetty tonight, which I always hope they will, then Lindor is destined to really start breaking out. But I do think it won't really fully happen until we see the whole lineup kind of in a groove. At least, I'd say 6, 7 of the 9 in the lineup. Once they're all kind of clicking, they're really going to vibe. Because you know how the Mets are. When they're vibing, they're all clicking together. We see guys in years past where you're surprised that they're actually stepping up. It's like really? Like Rajai Davis clutch walk-off hit for the Mets. Like, who expected that? It's like, it's those little things. And that will come for the Mets plenty this season. When? Hopefully starting tonight.
Yeah, you're right, man. We're hoping, I feel like every single game we're hoping for one of our players to break out. I really think that Pete Alonso was the breakout candidate last series. So who's it going to be this series? And also, will Pete Alonso keep up this trend of hitting bombs? Because that's what he's known for. He's a slugger. He's our cleanup hitter. And I just feel like he's destined to just continue and like he's carrying the offense in a way. I feel like him and Dom Smith have been consistent. Obviously, as we know, Brendan Nimmo is out, unfortunately. Conforto, I think, is getting his feet wet with that hit last night. Unfortunately, did not get over the fences like we mentioned previously. So we have talent all over this lineup, and it's just a matter of time until they start clicking. And Lindor, I love his energy. I love his leadership. We saw him in the press conference after the game where, hey, we're going to lose at least 50 games. And he was completely on point. And I love that he really reminded Mets fans, like, hey, if we lose 50 games, that means we win 112 games. So we're going to lose. And if we're going to start losing, I'd rather lose now. We're dealing with adversity. The best, teams in baseball deal with adversity the right way, go by day. And I just love that captain leadership role that Lindor has, endured here in New York because he's the new face of the franchise. And then we get Pete Alonso in the press conference after the game last night. Yeah, getting swept feels like eating a shit sandwich, to be honest with you. I just love Pete Alonso. His personality is amazing. I really
perfect.
I love Pete Alonso. He's just like a big polar bear that you want to hug and just go to war with, But hey, this is a very important series tonight. I'm expecting a lineup like is Jeff better be back in the lineup? Who's going to be playing at third? Who's a big disappointment for me? Pilar. Kevin Pilar is at the plate is not looking good. He does not get a lot of plate appearances because obviously he's coming off the bench, but he's batting like .90. VR has been a very good player off the bench. I really like Jonathan VR. Guillorme as well. So our depth is looking decent on that point, but yeah, do you have anything else to add on the Mets depth and what you expect the lineup to be like tonight?
I mean, yeah, that's a great thing. Pilar has not had a good start to the season. And again, it's one of those things I'm really not all that concerned with. This is like one of the first big years in a little bit now where he's not starting every day. He's been throughout the majority of a good portion of his career. This is the first year where he's like, okay, he's coming off the bench normally. So it sucks with Pilar, but I think he's going to be just fine. VR, I'm happy about. Third base will be key, but JD Davis will be starting at third base today because I can literally bet money on it. He will be starting at third base today for the Mets. If you look beyond that, how are they going to lead things off? I think it's going to be interesting. Is Brandon Nimmo coming back tonight? If Jeff
I think we lost Wardy for a sec. He's frozen. Wardy, you there? Wardy. Uh-oh. Wardy is frozen, everybody. I don't know where he at. Tyler's frozen, guys. I think he was talking about Brandon Nimmo coming back. Let's see if he's going to join back or something. I don't know what happened over there. Oh, I think you're good. Wardy, you there?
We good? What happened?
Yeah, I think you're good. You
Okay.
froze. You froze on me.
Oh, did I? What did I get cut off on?
You were talking about if Nimmo's going to be in the lineup.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know why. Everything just started crashing.
I think you're still crashing. I think Wardy is still crashing. All right, so Wardy's definitely dealing with some technical difficulties, guys. But I can definitely bounce off what he's saying while he gets this back. I'm going to remove him from the stream. Maybe that will help. Bring him back. Not too sure what's going on with that, but Wardy, you there? No, he's not there, guys. Oh, he's FaceTiming me. What's up, man?
Oh, I'm gonna reset my.
I think you're back. I see you on my screen.
Back, but it's acting stupid.
Okay.
I'm gonna just reset it. Just talk for like 2 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Wardy's gonna go reset his router because it's acting goofy. But it looks like he's on right now, so he'll be back. But Wardy was talking about, is Brandon Nimmo going to be playing tonight? Because Brandon Nimmo is not looking good when it comes to his hip. He's the best hitter on the team so far. And it's not even like he has a real injury. He has a inflamed hip because he slept the wrong way. So that's a day-to-day injury. That's not something that's going to linger on, at least I hope. And the big question that Wardy brought up is Brandon Nimmo going to be out of rhythm because he the game of baseball, you need to be going up against, pitching and live action and being in that rhythm, see the ball, hit the ball. And if you're not in that rhythm, and that's a big reason why I feel like this offense has not clicked as a team yet this season, is because that all of these reschedules with the COVID situation, rain out, snow out, whatever you want to call it, we missed 7 games that we're supposed to play so far this year. So who knows where we would be if we're playing all 7 games that we missed. So it's unfortunate, but hey, next man up mentality. I'm liking the bench so far when it comes to VR. Pilar, I'm not really that excited about yet, but granted, it's really early this season. You cannot read too much into Kevin Pillar's struggles at the plate, even though he's been holding his own defensively in center field when he is out there. But to put it into a nutshell, man, this team just needs to start hitting in runners in scoring position. It's that simple. You cannot sugarcoat it. And especially tonight with Jacob deGrom on the mound, there's no excuses. We need everybody to start. And I like that Wardy brought this up. We don't need to be swinging for the fences. Just keep the line moving, get a base hit, draw a walk. We do not need to be going for the fences here and there. And if there's a man on second base, just get the man in. I mean, it feels like it's not that hard, but the Mets' perspective, it is that hard for them. But I do feel like, and I said this earlier on the stream, guys, if you want the Mets to be struggling and underperforming, now is the time. It's only April. We are 14 games into the Mets season, and we're 7-7. It's unfortunate that we got swept from the Cubs, obviously, and we wish that we were above 500 right now, but it's not the end of the world. As Lindor said, we have a long season ahead of us. He's just getting used to the guys in the ball club. We need everybody to just deal with adversity properly, because the best teams in baseball in any sport are the mentally tough ones that can push through this adversity and not get too down, not get too high. When we're on a losing streak, you're not just pouting and hanging your head and saying, oh, no. And when you're winning, you're not like, oh my God, we're the best team ever. You got to be even keeled throughout it all. And that's what I'm hoping this Mets team can provide for us. I predicted that this Mets offense is going to start to click on another level in June. I know that June is historically a really bad month for the Mets, but I think that's when the Mets are going to start clicking. And we got Wardy back.
Yeah,
you're still glitching out, man.
My bad. Technical difficulties yesterday too. I don't know what the hell happened. But what's up? We rolling. What are we talking about?
All right, you were just lagging again, but I think we're good now. Yeah, I was just talking about the Mets just not, driving and running scoring position, how it's early in April and it's not too worried. And I predict that the Mets break out offensively as a team in June, even though that is still a month away. We have a whole month of May to get through. But I know June is also an historically bad month for the Mets in previous years. But I just feel like that's the month where they can all really start clicking as an offensive unit.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what, Richie? Here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to join through my phone. Might be right back, okay?
You should get do you have an Ethernet cable?
Yeah, I do. Everything's normally fine. This is a rare occurrence. This has not happened in like a month. Seriously. So just 1 second. We'll be right back.
All right. Join in on your phone.
Okay.
All right. Wardy will be joining in on his phone because he's having some technical difficulties. So you guys got me alone for a couple minutes before Wardy joins in. But guys, if you guys want to ask us any questions in the chat, feel free to let us know. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Kmo, MLB Joey, Scott, Leroy, Anthony. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. And yeah, shoot us any question. We'll open this up to a Mets Q&A. And we'll go from there. We got a very big series tonight. And Wardy's going to be joining soon. Here he is on his phone. There you go.
All right, there we go.
If you turn your phone sideways, it'll make you. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Do like that.
Perfect. All right. Keep rolling.
Yeah, so I just opened this up to a Mets Q&A. So
okay, sweet.
We're going to answer some questions in the chat.
Awesome.
MLB Joey says, yo, I got Knicks and Lakers in the finals. Yo, me too, bro. Knicks in 6. Knicks are going to the finals and winning it all.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't know about this year, but maybe not.
Nah, I'm just messing around.
I'm all for that then.
Imagine.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Seriously.
The Knicks are on a roll. 8-game winning streak. Come on, let's get the Mets on an 8-game winning streak.
I know, dude. It's funny. Yes, someone in my stream yesterday said, Mets are gonna start an 8-game winning streak like tomorrow, like being today. And I was like, "Are you a Knicks fan?" And then they were like, no, 8's my favorite number." I'm like, that's a bizarre coincidence. That
That
was
is.
8 game.
Good question from Jose. Who should the Mets target for the trade deadline and trade for? It's going to be interesting. I think the answer is going to be either a third baseman or a guy out of the pen. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think, it's kind of the same thing that we talked about all off season long. Until they give us a reason to pick something else, yeah, I think it will probably be a third baseman at this rate and bullpen relief. I think the Mets might F around, and depending on just how solidified they are in the standings by come the deadline, I could see them making an insane splash, something to take them over the top, and them trying to push with the Dodgers. And that's not an easy thing to do, but they can handle the salary repercussions of bringing in a big guy. Should be a guy with a big contract, and they have guys that are susceptible to being dealt now. Look at Ronnie Mauricio. I really like Mauricio a lot, but just to name one guy, like you have guys now that will be blocked with their future with the Mets. So it does make you wonder: will they be willing to part ways with a top prospect or two, knowing that they're getting a guy sustainable that'll be with the Mets organization, say the next 4 or 5 years throughout what very well could be deep runs in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like that. Michael says that reliever we got from Toronto went off last night. That was one positive for sure. Yeah, Michael, we went over him earlier on in the stream. And Tyler went to Twitter saying we officially won the Steven Matz trade. But yeah, he pitched 3 perfect innings in his Mets debut. First time since like 2002 or something around that time period that a Mets bullpen guy in his debut goes 3 perfect innings. Will he continue that when he comes back into the equation? Who knows? But it's definitely good to see him perform at this level because we need the bullpen to be lights out at any means necessary. MLB Joey says, does Peterson go to the bullpen or the minors when Carrasco and Syndergaard comes back? This is a very good question.
Great question.
The way I look at it is let's wait and see if all 6 pitchers are going to be healthy at the same time. Because with the Mets' luck, we don't know if that's going to be the case. Right now, we're lucky with the guys that started so far this season. Everyone's healthy. We don't have to worry. But that's not going to be till June. Anything can happen. But hypothetically, if everyone's healthy, then yeah, this is a big question. So what do you think the Mets are going to do with Peterson when Carrasco and Syndergaard comes back?
Yeah, I think Pearson is either going to be destined for the alternate site or in the bullpen. Maybe they'll consider him going to the minors just to, stay fresh. But I think they'll have him at either the alternate site or the bullpen. It's really up to them and how they want to utilize him and how willing Peterson would be, too, to possibly going in the pen. I think that the Mets, like Joey Lucchesi, we talked about, in my mind, he's perfect as a long reliever in this pen. I think he has the right amount of stuff. And could even add another pitch or two because he's only on 2 pitches with the curve and the fastball. But Pearson is kind of in the similar spot, in my opinion. As much as it's great to always have that one southpaw in the rotation, I think that if you have Carrasco back, if you have Thor back, and Walker's proving his worth in his rotation, and Pearson, by the numbers, is the worst of them all, then it's like, what do you do? Do you try a 6-man? But then I went back and forth on this plenty. If you do a 6-man, you're sacrificing DeGrom start. That. Those are the things you kind of have to weigh. So I'll be decently surprised if Pearson is in the rotation for the entirety of the year. Should Carrasco come back, be healthy, and be really good, at least solid, right? And Thor comes back and has potential to be Thor that we've seen before, maybe even something better.
Yeah, I agree, man. I really feel like it's going to be interesting to see what the Mets do. And I just can't wait to see Syndergaard. I keep forgetting that he's coming back this year. And Carrasco, he has not made his Mets debut. I don't even think he played in spring, right? Because he was injured all throughout spring as well. So we haven't seen anything about Carrasco. And I think a lot of people underrate how solid of a pitcher Carrasco is. So hopefully he can come back. When is he supposed to come back? Is he supposed to come back sooner rather than later?
Yeah, he's supposed to come back sometime in May. He's been ahead of schedule. He's been doing like 4-inning simulate games in Port St. Lucie, I think. So whether it's early or late May, I think it'll probably be more towards late May. But I think actually, I don't know. I think we could see Carrasco maybe within the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. anything sooner, that'd be awesome. But I think 2.5, 3 week span is fairly realistic at this point in time. Until Rojas gives us an update and either says that, well, we're not seeing him until June, or we're going to see him in, a week and a half. I don't know, but that's just my educated guess at this point in time.
And when it comes to Seth Lugo, is he going to be back the same amount of time as Syndergaard because they're both on 60-day ILs?
It's interesting. I thought that, but I remember Rojas speaking about Lugo. I think right around the same time as Carrasco, and they said how Lugo is going to be back in May. So I'm not sure exactly how that works, but at this point, from if we're trusting their words, it does look like Lugo will be back before Thor is.
All right, that's a good sign because Lugo is the ace of our bullpen, and we're missing out on him big time. And we need depth at the starting rotation that we are going to get that eventually the latest June. So there's a lot of things to look forward to with the Mets, but most importantly, we're living in the now. We're going up against the Washington Nationals tonight, the division rival. We're starting a 3-game series. We need to win this series by any means necessary. At least win a game, right?
Yeah.
Don't want to get swept. Let's win tonight for DeGrom. Let's get him a W. Wardy, what is the keys to win tonight against the Washington Nationals with Jacob DeGrom on the mound? I think it's pretty simple. You score runs for DeGrom and you get the dub. But what more to it is there tonight?
You score runs and you actually start to show that you can maybe play a little small ball. I want, like, there's an old saying that goes, and it goes with other sports too. It's like hockey, for example. You can play a north-south or an East Coast, East-West type game. And depending on the style that you do, it could really dictate, your success in that game. And from a baseball perspective, you're either playing small ball or you're playing, quote unquote big ball, which means that you're just hitting bombs. You're just focusing big swing and miss. Everyone's acting like a slugger. The Mets have really relied on the home run ball the past couple of years, and this is a season that they will not be able to do that to the same length that they are normally accustomed to, given the change in the ball and everything. So I really think that as a team, for them to have success and win this game for DeGrom, it is winning, getting a couple runs, but getting runs the right way. Like, let's not see damn runs because of fluky wild pitch or something. Like, let's actually see them jump and make their proper decision-making here. Continue to do well with your at-bats, drag them early, and just get those damn runs in. I know it's cliche to say that, do it any way you can, but I would really prefer if I could see them do it by just some more simple base knocks, man. We're doing it all the time when they're not on base. Just do it when they're on base. That's all you got to do. And know how to do proper base running. That will be the key to this team's success. And tonight against DeGrom, it should be more important than ever. And I hope that happens tonight. I hope that happens going forward throughout the series and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and you hit it all over the nail, bro. And I think the other two aspects is, obviously hitting with runners in scoring position is the obvious one. But also, let's play some defense for DeGrom tonight. Let's make sure that there's no worries because his last time out there, he gave up 3 runs. None of them were earned because of the errors. So Let's make sure there's no errors tonight. Clean it up. Make sure that we are clean in the outfield and the infield. One defensive player that deserves a lot of credit so far this season is James McCann behind the plate. He has been really good, throwing people out left and right, throwing it behind the runners. We're not used to having a defensive-minded catcher, and he is showing up big time. He's also hitting the ball pretty well. I'm loving what I'm seeing from James McCann. I think he's a positive that we can take from this season so far in a very small sample size. So defense. That's what's going to make or break this Mets season, low-key, in my opinion, because that nightmare of a game against the Cubs in Game 2 was scary. So we're going to wrap up the Mets talk in this week's episode. We're going to be live on Wardy's channel after the series on Monday to give you guys our recap and the preview of the next series. I'm pretty sure is against the Boston Red Sox, a quick little 2-game series. So that is it for this one. If you guys enjoyed, do not forget to like and subscribe to Mets Media and subscribe to Wardy down below in the description. We got a lot of Mets content coming on both of our channels and a lot of unique stuff all throughout the season. Wardy, anything you'd like to say before we go?
No, just want to apologize for the technical difficulties. Not the most ideal way to do our Mets talk, so I apologize for that. I don't know what went wrong today, but hopefully maybe a day off from the computer will do everything good for our segment on Monday. But as always, Richie, I appreciate it, and I appreciate every single one of you that have chimed in throughout this entire stream. And if you're watching this on playback afterwards, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe on whenever you can. Help Richie get to 1,000 subscribers. Would really mean a lot. and of course help them get as many likes on this damn thing as possible. And stay tuned, guys. A lot of great content is indeed coming. And let's go Mets, baby. Big series starts tonight at the time recording this against the Nationals with Jacob deGrom on the mound. Hopefully they get the dub. They need it for Jake more than anything. So that's it. You got to believe, baby. Let's go Mets.
Facts, man. You got to believe, and let's go Mets. And we'll catch you guys in our segment on Monday. Peace out, everybody.